In the last lesson, we learned what markers were all about and created several on our timeline, but now I want to specify what each marker is going to be used for. So we're going to once again open up the marker dialog box. And last time we opened it up by simply placing our cursor on the marker and hitting the M key. Here's another great shortcut that you can use to open up a marker. Simply hold down your Command key and double click on whatever marker you want to edit. As I was laying these markers in on the fly, I was commenting what they would be used for. Color correction, fixing a shot, adding a title graphic. So in this case, let's go ahead and modify this one, and we want it to say, enhance the greens. Now I want to change the color of the marker so I know to color correct it. I've decided that anytime a marker is green, that's going to be a note to myself that this needs to be color corrected. So I simply click on the green, I hit OK, and as you see in my timeline, that marker is now green. Let me go ahead and play it so you can see it a little bit more. So there we go. Every time I see a green marker in my timeline, that says color correct that shot. And I can go through to each of my markers and give them a specific note or a specific color. For instance, I talked about stabilizing this shot. So that's an effect shot. I'm going to once again hit Command, double click on the marker. I'm going to type a note to myself to use the smooth cam. And go ahead and change that to an effect shot by pressing the pink marker. And I'll go ahead and hit OK. And let's just do one more. I want a chapter marker right here. So I'm going to again Command, double click, and I want this to be a chapter marker. So I click Add Chapter Marker. And what you'll notice is it automatically has changed it to the appropriate color for a chapter marker. As a matter of fact, chapter markers are always purple, compression markers are always blue, and scoring markers are always orange. It also added some text in the comment field, which is going to put a flag on my timeline that this is going to be a chapter when I export this out to QuickTime or to a DVD. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now I know in my head what the different colors are going to be used for, but if I pass this program on to another editor, they may have no idea. I'm going to go ahead and change a Project Properties preference. And I get to this under the Edit menu, and I go to Project Properties. In Project Properties, I have a little dialog box here that talks about marker visibility. And instead of having a color here, such as red, I can change all these. Let's go through and change some of the key ones that we were working with. First, let's go down to pink, and I know that's an effect shot, EFX. Purple I know is chapters. Blue is compression. Orange is scoring. And green is color effects. I could go through and change all of these, but for now, this will work just fine. I also want to point one more thing out while we're in this dialog box. If you start getting a lot of markers with a lot of different colors in your timeline, it can be very confusing. So going into the Project Properties dialog, I can actually say, I don't want to see anything that has a red marker in it. And take a look when I uncheck this, what happens in my timeline. Those markers disappear. If I say, I don't need to see the compression or chapter markers, I can turn those off too. So by going into Project Properties, you can really control which markers you see in your timeline and control any confusion. I will turn all of these back on for the time being because I want to show you what happens now that we've renamed the colors. If I open up a marker dialog box, and let's go back to the one that we're already on, Command, double click. If I float my mouse over the markers, it tells me exactly what I've assigned that color to do. So if I go over to green, I know that's always a color effects marker. Let's go ahead and close this dialog box because I want to show you one more thing before we wrap this lesson. You remember you can put markers in on the fly by simply hitting the M key while playing. Well, you can actually put in each of the different color markers on the fly by using a series of keyboard shortcuts. And those would be Shift 1 through 8. Let's go ahead and take a look at how that works. I'm going to go ahead and hit the space bar, and let's go ahead and place some colored markers on our timeline. Shift 1, red. Shift 2, orange. Shift 3, yellow. Shift 4, green. Shift 5, turquoise. Shift 6, blue. Shift 7, purple. And Shift 8, pink. By being able to put different colored labels on your marker, it's much easier now to differentiate your notes.